Get in, nerds. We're comparing Hollow Knight and Silksong again. Today we're going to talk about hours 4 and 5 of the games. If you want to catch hours 1, 2, and 3, I will link those below. With that, let's go ahead and get started. Hours 4 and 5 of Hollow Knight and Silksong respectively were quite different from each other, and that mainly showed in how Hollow Knight really allowed for a lot more exploration. In Hollow Knight, what I've noticed is that after the tutorial area, it's up to you where to go. And because I know that game pretty much inside and out, I was able to do a lot more in my 4th and 5th hours than I was in Silksong, such as I was able to obtain not 1, not 2, but 3 nail upgrades. I had also gotten the Crystal Dash, Double Jump, and I'd even upgraded one of my spells from Descending Dark to Desolate Dive. I think those are the names. I might have gotten that wrong. If you've made it this far, please give the video a like and subscribe if you like. In Silksong up to this point, I had gotten the Clean Grip and also gotten the Sprint, and last but certainly not least, I had finally gotten the first Needle upgrade, which was a chore because you have to beat Widow in order to do so, and even though I had done that in a previous playthrough, it still took me about 4 or 5 times to get Widow. Before starting this series, I was of the opinion that Silksong was a much better game. Now, I'm going to wait till the end of this series to state my final opinion and defend it, but at this point, I am starting to feel like Hollow Knight is a much more, as much as I hate to use this term, I do think it's an apt description. I think it's a much more open world. Now, there obviously is a lot more to explore in Silksong just because of the size of the map, but you're pretty limited in Act 1 as to what you can do. And also, I don't have the memory of Silksong's map inside and out. And at this point in my Silksong playthrough, I've only fought 4th Chorus, Lace, Moorwing, Widow, and Sister Splinter. Now, these boss fights did pose a bigger challenge than any of the bosses in Hollow Knight have so far. I do partially think that's because of Silksong being a more challenging game, but also, so far every boss does 2 mass damage, with Moorwing even doing 2 mass damage just on contact, not receiving an actual attack. In Hollow Knight, very few of the bosses actually do 2 mass damage, and that, again, I would say is a balance issue, because you can only heal 1 mask at a time in Hollow Knight, whereas in Silksong, you're healing 3 at a time. However, I am still really amazed at what you can accomplish in just 5 hours in Hollow Knight, because already the knight feels a lot more powerful. It's also worthy to mention that I really haven't messed around with charms too much, and as such, I only have 4 charm notches. I do plan to remedy this, however, I do think it's still pretty incredible what you can do with just a nail and some spells. One thing I also really appreciate about Silksong and Hollow Knight is if you pay attention to Hornet in Hollow Knight, her personality is really consistent in Silksong. She does tend to stalk the knight around, and you can see this in 1, Green Path, 2, you'll see her in City of Tears. The 3rd time you encounter her, you also have to fight her again. And Hornet is not one of the soft but gentle types. She is more firm bug. But we do see that she has a softer heart after defeating her and getting the King's Brand when she pulls you from the rubble of the deceased worm. In Silksong, this is further expanded on, and it furthermore shows when she is interacting with other bugs after completing quests or taking quests on for them. She doesn't go out of her way to help, she says, and obviously that's up to the player, but she says if she can help along the way, she will do so. Obviously, Hornet having a bigger personality makes a bigger difference when it comes to feeling attached to Hornet. I appreciate you all taking the time to join me here, and I'll see you in the next one.